Hey guys, how you doing? It's Coach Mitch here. So, NOPA. Coach Mitch, I got a NOPA. Am I done? Is it all over? What's going on? I'm worried. I get this a lot for the past 7 years. And so I want you to guys know when you get a NOPA, first of all, what is NOPA? What does that mean, right? It's called a Notice of Proposed Action. So what it means is that whatever body you're going for, could be the FBI, could be CBP, BP, whatever, as you're going through the process, they found something in your background that they can disqualify you for. However, you do get a chance to fight it, to explain what's going on with your life or explain what's happened. NOPA is not an automatic disqualification unless you choose not to fight it. Now, I've had some people before in the past who told me, I got a NOPA, I just give up. Screw that, you know? Don't do that. Now, see, you guys already know who follow my channel in our community. You guys already know I hate the poly. I think the poly is so subjective, and that's how I feel about that. But however, the NOPA to me is real. It means they're going through the background. They found something tangible, and it's enough tangibility that they say, hang on, put the brakes on. We don't want to get rid of this guy, but we want him to at least state what's going on and have them qualify what's happening so they can explain, or so you can explain what happened. Now, you can see what I've done in the past 7 years. I help people out to get through this process as well, because a lot of times, and I understand this too, you're emotional about this, right? It's a very heavy hit. You're going through half a year through the process, 9 months, whatever, then you get slapped with a NOPA. It's like, oh my God, you serious? It's frustrating, and I understand that. It really is, That's why I help you guys out, because when you're writing a NOPA letter to defend yourself, too many people get into the emotions of it all. And that's understandable. It's fine to have emotions. Don't worry about what you see on YouTube or, it's not being a man to have emotions. Sure it is. It's a process you're going through. You're going through a professional process, and you get temporarily stopped. Who isn't going to be emotional about that? You want that bad, you can almost taste it, but then you get a roadblock in front of your face. However, when I go through with you, I double check your words when you rewrite things, so on and so forth, because your NOPA has to be fact only, no emotions, get right down to the point. And that's what it has to be. Case in point, about 9 months ago, I had a client who got a NOPA. He hasn't seen his brother in 9 years. They live in different states. They never talk ever. But his brother was doing some felonious type stuff, right? And so they had to clear him from his brother's image. Thus, he got a NOPA. They wanted him to explain what's going on with your brother, right? And we wrote a good letter to them, of course, zero emotions, just all fact. And of course, he got through that, right? So that wasn't a big issue. So is NOPA a disqualifier? No. It is a disqualifier if you don't fight back, right? If you don't say what's going on, right? Don't just take it like, okay, no big deal, I'm done. Don't do that. You guys are fighters here, right? Don't do that. Number two, so where does the NOPAs usually come from? People think, well, Coach Mitch, so what source do they get my NOPA from? Like, what's going on here with my NOPA, and where do they find my information from? Well, that's a good deal. Here's the secret, guys. Financial issues are the number one thing they find. Credit could be the number one thing. Debt, right? Those are things they find. Number two could be employment problems, criminal history. This doesn't mean 1 or 2 traffic tickets. We're talking about true criminal history, of course, right? Also, too, I see this a lot when I do the SF86 reviews for people. I see a lot of inconsistencies in the SF86. And so you're saying one thing, but then you do a complete contradiction in the same format. That's always going to trigger a NOPA, because you got to be able to explain why this is this, why that is that. You can't think of a NOPA as you're guilty. You got to think of a NOPA as, when you go to court, they say, don't represent yourself. Well, a NOPA is almost the same way, right? But you have to represent yourself. I'm here to help you too, but you have to represent yourself to explain things, right? So these NOPAs get flagged a lot, guys. In my business for 7 years doing this right now, I've had over 2,000 clients. I could say about 22% of them get hit with a NOPA. Of that, about 18% we rewrite and they get through. 4% just some egregious stuff happening with them, so I can't help it at all, right? So you usually get 1 to 2 weeks to respond to a NOPA, right? So how do you do that? It's got to be written, right? You got this written explanation of what you're doing. You always want to have supporting documentation if applicable, right? And then we are going to do, or you're going to do, a piece by piece by piece clarification of what you've done, right? clarification explaining what happened. You want to be clear, and don't write these long stories. Remember, this is a federal law enforcement type agency. They don't want to hear these long, drawn out, beautiful stories. Get right down to the point, get the facts done, and get them out of the way. That's what you want to do, of course, right? Here's the biggest thing I found in the years have gone by, what I tell people all the time is honesty and ownership matter the most. Ownership is so important in 2026 and on, because you see today, you see many politicians not being honest. They don't take responsibility. They lack ownership. They lack leadership. Those are not people you want to follow. You want to follow the person in the mirror and be integrity based, right? The worst thing you can ever do is to minimize your own actions in the NOPA. They do not want to deal with that. They want honesty. Yeah, you can say, well, politicians are not honest. Who cares? That's not you. You're you, right? So don't minimize, right? These guys are judging you on honesty, accountability, and evidence of improvement, right? That's something we get into in my one-on-one with you. We can go through your SF86 program, of course, right? But when you sit down there, right, you think about it. When you take responsibility for your behavior, it goes a lot further. It just does, right? You're saying, yes, this happened, or yes, it did not happen, whatever, right? But if something in there is shady, are you not sure how to say that? Say it anyway. Put the facts out there so they can know. Don't try to cover stuff up, okay? Okay, so Coach Mitch, I submitted it now. Now what happens? Well, they're going to respond to you, right? And they're going to put in some further review for you, okay? And so the NOPA is it's really your chance to show you are eligible for this position. If you think you're eligible for the position after NOPA, then come on. Take out 4 or 5 hours on a weekend, whatever. Get out your stuff, show the argument, and show you can do that, you know? If you need help defending your NOPA or writing your NOPA, you can always come to me also, but you don't need me for that if you don't want to. It's fine. I'm trying to tell you those that I'm here for that if you need me. The facts are this. Put down the facts. Write down the facts and make the facts count, because it's one shot, okay? Stay honest with the paperwork. Stay honest with what you're writing. Keep emotion out of it. Just the facts. Understand? That's how you do that, okay? So the NOPA is not the end-all, be-all. It is what I would call a temporary block. That's the most I would call it. It's just a temporary thing in the way for now, and you can fight through that, okay? You guys take care. It's Coach Mitch. If you want my help down there, get into my description down there. I'll help you out with the NOPA filing, how to fight that back for you, okay? You guys have a good day. Take care. Coach Mitch, continue your mission.